So I used to be married to Judy, 36 female, and we have a daughter, Scarlett, young teen, together. Fake names. Judy never wanted kids, but I did, and I assumed she did too. We had her, and Judy completely changed. She wasn't caring with Scarlett. They didn't bond, and she blamed Scarlett for our losing our independence. About a year after, we divorced, and she gave me everything. It hurt me that she didn't even want to see Scarlett once a year. She moved to Seattle months after, started running a business, and got really fit. Her cousin told me she even got laser surgery to remove her stretch marks. Since then, Judy has moved to LA and divides her time between there, London, Mumbai, and New York City. She has become a fairly famous influencer and socialite. I check her Instagram every now and then, and she's been at parties with celebrities worldwide and truly seems happy. To her credit, every time her financial situation changed, she would come back and get our child support agreement changed to give more to Scarlett. Every time she'd come, she would spend some time with Scarlett. She even kept it the same even though my new wife makes a lot more money than both of us, and we don't need it now. About 3 years ago, she started calling more to talk to Scarlett. She would also come over more, and every spring break she comes for those 2 weeks. She phones every night unless she's in London, Mumbai, or New York City, in which case she just sends a text. On New Year's Eve, she was at some celebrity's party, but still took the time to phone. Now, I'm not saying that this makes up for anything, but she has been a presence in Scarlett's life. Well, we just found out that Judy's grandfather is very ill, and he's going to pass away within a month, maybe early March at best. So she's going to India for spring break for his funeral, and has requested to take Scarlett with her. I'm fine with that. My wife is fine with that. However, Scarlett got really upset about spending 2 weeks in India. I pointed out her mom would take her to all the nice places. She'll get to see great things and meet that part of her family. But she said that it's not fair. So I pointed out that at the very least, she can get whatever she wants out of her mom in those 2 weeks. My wife overheard and said I was an idiot for telling Scarlett that it's all right to use her mom for cash since she's barely been in her life. I pointed out I didn't say that, but we argued, and since then, I realized what I said did kind of amount to that. Was I the idiot? Edit. Judy never told me she didn't want kids. She allowed me to believe she did. If I knew she didn't, we would never have gotten married. So your message to your daughter was, it's good to let other people do things with you that make you uncomfortable, as long as they pay you. Great parenting. No way that message could go wrong. You are the idiot, OP. If Scarlett doesn't want to go with someone she barely knows, don't make her go. Why would you push her on that? And advocating for taking advantage of her mother is crappy. You're not listening to your daughter. She doesn't seem to want to go, and you haven't gotten her side of the story. It could be something minor, just nervous about international travel, but it also might be something she doesn't really want to do. Maybe she feels like her mother wants to use her for influencer purposes. Talk to your daughter. Give her a chance to really talk through how she feels and respect her decision. Disagree, not the idiot. A lot of people on here have no grasp on reality. It is completely normal for children to be wary about traveling to foreign countries, and there's nothing wrong with trying to convince her that it could be a great experience for her and an opportunity to meet her family. I mean, your job as a parent is sometimes to make children do things they don't want to do in their own best interest. That's why kids eat vegetables and don't live off a diet of pizza and Coke. In regards to the comment about getting whatever she wants out of her mom, it may have been distasteful, but it doesn't make you an idiot. It sounds like you were just trying to negotiate with your daughter to give her reasons to want to go. I get it. Honestly, you managed to land not one but 2 decent women. I cannot for the life of me understand how. How is abandoning your child a decent woman? Nothing decent about a woman or a man who walks away from actively parenting their own child, financial support or not. If she knew she didn't want a kid, she shouldn't have had a kid. And then abandon her child? No woman who abandons her child is a decent woman. I can't even believe there's a world where you think you aren't the idiot. I was best friends with Jen from preschool through 9th grade. Her home life was pretty rough. and she practically lived at my house. My parents called her the daughter they never had. When we were in ninth grade, I asked her out. It took some convincing, but she eventually said yes. She broke up with me over text the day after our date. She barely went to school, didn't text, and wasn't at my house at all for the next few weeks. She eventually showed up at my house in the middle of the night. My parents took her in, no questions asked. Then she left in the middle of the night a few weeks later. I admit I didn't love having her around and didn't make it easy on her, but her leaving was hard on everybody. My parents had to go to therapy. Last year, I moved out for college, but I was still planning to visit. A few months after I moved out, Jen showed up at my parents' house pregnant and with a baby. They took her in again, then called my brothers and me, asking how we felt about her staying with them. My brothers were okay with it, but I can't forgive her for what she did a few years ago. My parents let her stay anyways, but said they had conditions on her staying with them, like her going to therapy and either enrolling in college or getting a job. I told them that I still wasn't okay with it. We argued a bit, and I told them I wouldn't visit if she lived there. She still lives there, and I still hold true to my word, and I haven't visited since. They're trying to get me to visit them, but I won't be there if Jen is living there. They're calling me petty and saying that I need to forgive her, but I have a right to be upset. Am I the idiot? So at 15, you were told no, and then after bullying her, which you referred to it as it took some convincing, she eventually said yes. You had one single date, which you harassed her into agreeing to. Then you refer to her not wanting a second date. She didn't want the first date either, by the way, as breaking up with you. She spent weeks avoiding you, which you still didn't pick up on. You don't say how old you are, but you still resent her for not wanting to date you. You are the idiot. You forgot the part where OP didn't love having her around and didn't make it easy on her, meaning that OP took a home life that could potentially have been stable and safe for a girl whose original home life seems anything but, and turned it into a living nightmare for her. All because she turned down a second date after being bullied into a first one. OP, I disagree with your family. You don't need to forgive anything because you have nothing to forgive. She did nothing wrong. What you need to do is beg and grovel and pray for forgiveness from both her and your family for everything you've done to make this girl's life miserable. If you can't do that, keep staying away. It's better for everyone, especially that poor girl. I, 27 female, was invited to my roommate Nina's, 25 female, family New Year's Eve party. Her family's Russian and they have a huge spread, and everyone was super welcoming and friendly. Our other roommates, Tina and Alex, were also invited. Nina's grandmother kept offering me food, and I didn't want to be rude, and the food was delicious. Tina and Alex were side-eyeing me every time I accepted another portion, but Nina's family kept offering me more food. When it was time for dessert, Nina's grandmother brought out this big layered crepe cake, some traditional Russian dish, and served it to everyone. She seemed so happy I liked the food and told me to have as much cake as I wanted. It was so good I ate 3 slices and put 3 more slices in a Tupperware to take home. There was 1 slice of cake left. Nina's grandmother offered it around, and no one wanted it, so I took it. I thought everything was fine and I had a great time, but right as we were leaving, I heard Nina complaining to someone that her family looked forward to the leftover cake. Then in the car on the way back home, Tina and Alex commented on how much I ate, and I got mad at them for shaming me because it was none of their business, and everyone was offering me food. Then Tina saw the cake in my bag and started yelling at me and saying how rude and embarrassing I was and that I ate too much. And we got into a huge argument because I felt like she was criticizing my body and food shaming me. Now Tina and Alex aren't talking to me, and Nina says I should have at least shared the cake with her. I don't see what the issue is. I mean, they offered me the food and all the portions. I was just being polite and enjoying myself. I didn't deserve to get food shamed by them, but I do feel bad since Nina said she was looking forward to the cake leftovers. You are the idiot, big time, for taking 7 pieces of cake when others were eating too, but you are especially for not leaving your Tupperware 3 pieces behind after you heard Nina wishing she had leftover cake. Even if you didn't react fast enough to think of that, why on earth didn't you share with your roommate who invited you to her grandmother's house in the first place? Offering guests food is politeness, just as taking only a reasonable portion is politeness. Right? Like, there is definitely a huge thing in Russian culture where feeding your guest is equated to hospitality as a whole. Eating the food that Nina's grandma kept offering? Totally fine. Eating 3 slices of cake? A bit excessive, seeing as dessert is more limited. Most cakes are only cut into about 12 pieces, but taking 4 more slices home with you? Jesus! OP could have offered some to Nina when they heard her complain, or to roommates when they said something. That's not a lack of self-awareness. That's greed. But they were food shaming me. Dude, you ate the entire cake. No, you didn't eat it. You ate half and then took the other half home. No one was food shaming you, whatever that means. They were calling you out for being incredibly greedy. There's nothing wrong with eating a lot of food, but you must be conscious of how much there is for everyone else. My dad has been married to Joy for 2 years. She has 2 kids, who are an infant male and a female kindergartner. My siblings, teen male and female, and I, older teen male, live with our dad and Joy. I don't consider Joy my parent or her kids my siblings, but I'm not a jerk either. So when I went Christmas shopping, I did get them gifts, but nothing like what I got my siblings. I got my sister this makeup case she'd been wanting, some decals for her Switch, and I got her some packs of Animal Crossing cards. I got my brother 3 video games he's wanted for a while, and I got him a second controller for his PS5. I work part-time and I save most of my money so I can afford to do this. I got a toy for each of my step-siblings, not even really sure what they were, but they weren't very expensive. I was wrapping them while everyone was out. Joy came home early and saw me wrapping them and asked where the rest of the gifts were. I said that was it, and she got mad at me because she realized her kids got way less compared to my siblings, and the effort was put into my siblings more. She told me I was old enough to treat them all exactly the same, and to imagine how it would feel for her kids to think I don't love them the same. She complained to my dad when he got home, and he asked me about it. I told him her kids don't mean the same to me as my siblings, so I got them something to be nice, versus actually wanting to and trying to be their big brother. Dad spoke to Joy after me, and she was annoyed that I didn't see them all as equally as my siblings. She questioned me about who else I bought gifts for, and I told her it was none of her business. She told me I live in her house, she's the mom of the house, etc. And I told her I don't have a mom, and that she's not my mom, and I don't owe her the information about who I spend my money on gifts for. Things are now so tense. It's been more than a week, and my dad has asked if I would consider spending more on Joy's kids to keep the peace. I told him I wasn't willing to do that, so Dad bought some extra gifts for me to say are for me. Joy was angry and said I was a little idiot because I shouldn't be getting blood family better gifts for being blood when we're all equally one family. Am I the idiot? Edit. I literally don't have a mom. My siblings and I were born with help for Dad to be our sole parent. He became a single parent to 3. The woman who helped has no legal rights over us, so no mom. Not the idiot. You're a teen, a child. You're not obligated to spend anything on anyone at your age. The fact that you've used your money you've saved from your part-time job to get something nice for your siblings and step-siblings show that you're a caring older brother. Your step-siblings are young. They have no concept of the monetary value of anything. They'll just be happy they got something. Your stepmother needs to back all the way off, and I say this as a stepmother myself. She cannot force a sibling bond between you in the same way as she can't force a parent-child relationship between you. It takes time, and putting this pressure on will drive a wedge in. Your dad needs to step up here and defend you. Also, ew, cringing at mom of the house. That lady has some nerve to say that. Agree. Like, I am technically the mother of the house in my home, but I can't fathom lording that over my biological children, much less a stepchild that's already made it clear They don't want a maternal relationship with me. Frankly, I can't fathom saying that with a straight face. I'm the mother of this house. Buy them glitter, slime, and stickers. The unholy trinity. Make Joy regret opening her mouth. My brother, 23, was dumb and invested much of his savings in crypto. He bought at the peak, sold at the bottom, and lost a lot of money. He's been depressed and anxious about this and beating himself up over it. My dad, 48, is ironically a financial advisor and found out today when my brother admitted it. He had told my brother and me not to invest in crypto when we joked about Dogecoin last year, and he told us millions of times to diversify, diversify, diversify. Well, my brother didn't listen to any of that, and my dad, when he found out, started being a total idiot to my brother, in my opinion. Saying things like, "Tell me you're joking. You're joking, right? Why on earth would you do such a dumb thing? I told you millions of times last year not to buy crypto. You should only be buying diversified mutual index funds. You made these choices, and now you're learning your expensive lesson." Things that are not helpful and not serving any purpose, other than to fill my dad's ego and make my brother feel even worse. Like, seriously, why even say these things? I, 22 female, told my dad to shut up, since he wasn't adding anything to the conversation. By the way, my brother at this point was near tears. My dad got mad at me, and maybe I went overboard. I was just very upset on my brother's behalf. I screamed at my dad that this is precisely why my brother and I have never confided in him about anything important, and we went to our mom. They're divorced. Instead, since my mom has empathy. He yelled back that he did have empathy. I said if he did, then I wouldn't be so excited to remove him from my life when I'm older and not be financially dependent on him. Now we're not speaking. He didn't even apologize to my brother either. My brother left and is probably still depressed. I feel bad now for making my dad so upset, but also, I feel like he reacted so badly to my brother for no reason. But now I feel guilty. I also currently live with him. Am I the idiot for screaming at him for what he said to my brother? You are the idiot, and you should move out immediately and support yourself if you want to treat your father that way. You haven't earned the right to lecture your dad about anything since you're still financially dependent on him at 22. He doesn't owe him an apology. You, on the other hand, owe your dad one. I imagine your brother is also financially dependent on your dad to some extent, judging by his investment acumen, which enabled him to save money. Bro's probably depressed about losing his money and finding out he's not this savvy crypto trader investor he thought he was. Everyone's the idiot. You shouldn't have yelled at your dad. He shouldn't have poured quite that much salt on your brother's wounds, maybe half that much. By the way, empathy isn't the only important quality in a parent. One who will teach you not to drive off cliffs